David Rogers, purchasing manager at Fairway Manufacturing Corporation, was able to acquire a large quantity of raw material from a new supplier at a discounted price. Okay. Marion Connor, inventory supervisor, is concerned because the warehouse has become overcrowded and some things had to be rearranged. Second person. Now we have third one. Brian Johns, who happens to be the vice president of production, is concerned about the quality of discounted material. However, the engineering department had tested the new raw material and indicated that it is of acceptable quality. At the end of the month, Fairway experienced a favorable usage variance, a favorable labor usage variance, and a favorable material price variance, of course, because it was a discounted material. The usage variance were solely the result of a higher yield from the new raw material. The favorable material price variance would be considered the responsibility of the person who purchased it. So it is not Brian Johns, the vice president of production, not Marion Connor, inventory supervisor. The person who should get credit for this is David Rogers, the purchasing manager, who purchased it at lower price. So the correct option is option A. The variance that arises solely because the quantity actually sold, 10,000 units, differs from the quantity budgeted to be sold, 8,000. So we thought we will sell 8,000, but we actually sold 10,000. What kind of variance is it? Not the static budget variance, because static budget variance is a variance when we compare the original static budget with the actual result. This is called the sales volume variance. We sold more than what we planned for. So that makes C to be the correct option. The purpose of identifying manufacturing variances and assigning their responsibility to the person or the department should be to do what? Let us move in the reverse order. Pinpoint fault for operating problems in the organization. Pinpointing is quite an inappropriate word. Variance analysis is not the blame game. It is basically counterproductive, wrong. Considering it to be a blame game is counterproductive. Determine the proper cost of the products so that selling price can be adjusted accordingly. This is again incorrect. Selling prices depend upon so many other things, not just cost only. Trace the variances to finished goods so that the inventory can be properly valued at the year end. This is again incorrect, because the proper valuation of the inventory can occur without assigning any responsibility to any person or any department. So this is again incorrect. Then the purpose of identifying manufacturing variances and assigning their responsibility to a person or department should be to use the knowledge about variances to promote learning and continuous improvement in the manufacturing operation. This is the basic purpose of variance analysis, and that is our right option. Which of the following types of variances would a purchasing manager most likely influence? Look no further. Direct material price variance. This is something he can directly influence because he's the one responsible for purchasing. So A. Smart company uses static budget, and let's say the original quantity in the static budget is 10,000 units to be produced and sold. When the actual sales are less than budget, maybe you produced and sold only 8,000 units, Smart would report favorable variance on which of the following expense categories? Now look at this. Building rent, this is a fixed cost. It is not influenced by any change between the static budget and the actual numbers. So no. Neither favorable nor adverse. Then what? Sales commission. Now look at this. You would have calculated sales commission based upon these 10,000 units. So let's say if you pay $2 per unit as sales commission. So this is the sales commission on the budget. Since you sold only 8,000 units, so the sales commission on actual is going to be 16,000. So this was the estimated expense on sales commission, This was the actual, so this would be favorable. This would be favorable. Yes, yes, so the combination that makes perfect sense is B. The difference between standard hours at standard wage rate and the actual hours at standard wage rate is referred to as which of the following types of variances? So we are talking about labor. We have two types of variances for labor: labor efficiency variance and labor rate variance. Labor efficiency variance is the standard quantity of hours versus actual quantity into the standard price of labor, and labor rate variance is equal to the standard rate minus actual rate multiplied by the actual quantity of hours worked. Now just simplify both of these: SQSP minus AQSP, and I don't think so we need to simplify this any further. Look at this. Compare. The difference between standard hours at standard wage rate and the actual hours at the standard wage rate is the labor efficiency variance, or also called the usage variance. Remember, labor efficiency variance, labor usage variance, labor quantity variance, they are the same. And labor rate variance is also called as labor price variance. The production volume variance is due to inefficient or efficient use of direct labor hours. No, that is isolated by labor efficiency variance. Production volume variance is due to efficient or inefficient use of variable overheads. No. Production volume variance is the difference from the planned level of base used and the actual level achieved. Like for example, we thought we will work 10,000 labor hours as per the budgeted production, and the fixed overhead rate is $2 per labor hour. So that means our fixed overhead budget was $20,000. What happened? We just used 8,000 labor hours. That means the overhead absorbed is 16,000. This is the volume variance. Or it could be we used 12,000 labor hours at the rate of 2. That would mean $24,000 has been absorbed in production for fixed overhead. This variance between the budgeted overheads and the absorbed budgeted overhead and the absorbed is called the volume variance. So the difference between the planned level of base used, this was the planned level of base used for the overhead allocation, and the actual level achieved, 8,000 or 10,000 or 12,000, this is called the volume variance. Look no further, it is C. Which of the following standard costing variances would be least controllable by a production supervisor? He can control material usage, he can control labor efficiency, also overhead efficiency. This is something he cannot control. Volume variance is something that is least controllable by a production supervisor. Overhead absorbed more than the budget or less than the budget, this is called the volume variance, and this is something not in control of production supervisor. The performance of a standard cost center should be evaluated by comparing. First of all, you should know that there is a static budget, then we have the actual results, and then we have the flexible budget, also called the middle budget. When we compare the static budget with the actual result, this is called the static budget variance of very limited significance. When we compare static budget with the flexible budget, this is called the volume variance. From sales side, it is called sale volume variance. From production side, it's called the production volume variance. And the comparison between the flexible budget and the actual result, this is called the flexible budget variance, and this is the most important set of variances used for performance evaluation and business process improvement. Okay, the performance of standard cost center should be evaluated by comparing flexible budget with the actual results, actual cost with the flexible budgets, and that is the right option, B. The difference between actual amounts and the flexible budget amounts for the actual output achieved is what? Let me show you. We have just done this. Here it is. So the difference between the actual amounts and the flexible budget amounts is called the flexible budget variance. So that would be B. In analyzing company's operations, the controller of Jason Corporation found a 250,000 favorable flexible budget revenue variance. So let's take some imaginary numbers. Your flexible budget contains 1 million units to be sold at let's say 25 each. So our flexible budget revenue was $25 million. Right? What happened in actual? In actual, we sold 1 million because remember the quantity on the actual results and the flexible budget is always the same. Multiplied by the actual price we got was 25.25. Meaning thereby our revenue was an actual 25.25 million. So the difference between these two is clearly $250,000, which is favorable. This is called the favorable flexible budget revenue variance. We got $250,000 more than our budgeted revenue. Now the variance was calculated by comparing the actual results with the flexible budget. The variance can be wholly explained not by quantity because quantity is same on both. Remember, the flexible budget quantity and the actual quantity are always the same. The difference is caused by the price. Difference is caused by the price. Changes in the unit selling price. Our standard selling price was 25, but we ended up selling at 25.25. So that makes C to be the correct option. Anderson Corporation budgeted sales of 6 to 5,000 units, 6 to 50 units at $12 per unit, but achieved sales of 5,000 at 15 per unit. This was the original standard quantity. This was the standard price. This was the actual quantity sold, and this is the actual price. Anderson would compute selling price variance. Selling price variance is equal to the actual price minus standard price into the actual quantity sold. Just the formula, plug in the numbers and you get your answer. Actual price 15, standard price 12, multiplied by the actual quantity sold 5,000. So you will get 15,000. So your sales price variance is 15,000 favorable. Remember, my formulas have been arranged in a way that every positive number will mean favorable variance and every negative number would mean the adverse variance. Folsom Fashion sells a line of women dresses. Folsom's performance report for November is as follows. Dresses sold 5,000, budget was 6, sales price actual was sales revenue 235, budget was 300, variable cost actual versus budget, contribution margin, fixed cost and the operating income. Okay. The company uses flexible budget to analyze the performance and to measure the effect on operating income of the various factors affecting the difference between budgeted and actual operating income. The sales price variance for November is, we know sales price variance is the actual price minus the standard price multiplied by the actual quantity sold. So let us first calculate actual quantity sold. Of course, it is 5,000. Plug it in. Now we need to calculate the actual price and the standard price. Our standard price was $300,000 was the expected revenue by selling 6,000 units. So the standard selling price was $50. What did we get in actual? 235,000 divided by 5,000, 47. This is the actual selling price. So actual selling price is 47. Standard selling price was 50. Clearly it's an adverse variance of $15,000. Adverse D. Why negative and why adverse? Because your standard price was more, actual price was less. So the result is a negative number, and I just told you negative in my world would be adverse. D. Next, Central Winery manufactured two products, product A and product B. Estimated demand for product A was 10,000 and for B it was 30,000. Okay. The estimated selling price per bottle for A was $6. Standard price for A was $6 and the standard price for B was $8. Actual demand for product A was 8,000. For product B it was 33,000. The actual price per bottle for A, the actual price was $6.2 and for B it was $7.70. What amount would be total selling price variance for Central Winery? Okay, sales price variance for item A is equal to the actual price minus standard price multiplied by the actual quantity sold, 8,000, plus sales price variance for item B is equal to the actual price minus standard price multiplied by the actual quantity sold. So if you simplify this, this will be clearly favorable. It's going to be 0.2 times 8,000. 0.2 times 8,000 gives you 1600 favorable plus. And for this 7.7 less 8 multiplied by 33,000, it is 9900 adverse. So 9900 adverse plus 1600 favorable gives you a total of 8300 adverse unfavorable. So that would make B to be the correct option. For the current period of production levels, Woodwork Company budgeted 11,000 boards feet of production and purchased 15,000 board feet. This was the budget. This was the purchase. The material cost was $7 per foot. That was the standard price. The actual cost for the period was 8.5 per foot. This is the actual price. What was the Woodworks material price variance for the period? We know material price variance is equal to the standard price minus actual price multiplied by the actual quantity purchased. So standard price is 7, actual price is 8.5 multiplied by the actual quantity purchased, 15,000 boards. A fairly straightforward question. 1.5 negative times 15,000, it's negative, so it's going to be 22,500 adverse. Minus would mean adverse variance, and that perfectly matches with your option D. Relevant information for material A is as given: quantity purchased, standard quantity allowed, actual price, standard price. What was the direct material price variance? Material price variance is simply the difference between the standard price that you should have paid versus the actual price you actually paid per unit multiplied by the actual quantity purchased. Standard price was 4. Actual price paid was less than the standard, clearly a favorable variance, multiplied by the actual quantity purchased, 6,500 pounds. So it's going to be a favorable variance of $1,300, and that makes option A to be the correct one. Plus means favorable. Okay, again, relevant information for product A is as given: actual variable overhead cost per hour 8, standard variable overhead cost per hour 7.5, actual hours 4,500, standard hours 5,000. What was the variable overhead spending variance for product A? I hope you would remember variable overhead spending variance is equal to actual quantity of hours multiplied by the standard price for the variable overhead, also called the standard variable overhead cost per hour or the variable overhead absorption rate, minus the actual variable overhead cost. That's how we calculate the spending variance as per my formulas. Follow my formulas. You will not get any question wrong, whether it is Becker, Gleim, Hawk, Wiley, any software on the face of this planet. Any question can be done. Okay, now the actual quantity of hours given 4,500. You just need to find the right numbers and plug it in my formulas. You will always get the right answer. Variable overhead rate 7.5. Actual variable overheads are not given, but we have been given in an indirect way. Our actual variable cost per hour $8. Actual hours 4,500. If you just multiply these two, you will get your actual variable overhead cost, which is going to be 36,000. This is your actual variable overhead cost. So now just simplify this: 4,500 minus 7.5, 33,750. This should have been the cost variable overhead as per the level of output achieved, but the actual cost was 36,000. The difference between these clearly is negative, and it is going to be adverse. Negative in my world is adverse. So that makes C to be the correct option. A company's standard costs for direct labor are as follows. Standard quantity 1 hour is allowed for each unit, and the standard price to the workers is $15 per labor hour. Last month, the company produced and sold 100 units of its products using 110 labor hours at the rate of 16 per hour. This is the actual price. This is the actual quantity of the hours used, and this is the output, actual output produced. What amount is the company's direct labor efficiency variance, also called the labor usage variance? It's equal to the standard quantity of hours that you should have used versus actual quantity of hours you actually used multiplied by the labor rate, or called the standard price for labor per hour. You produce 100 units, and as per the standard, each unit should use 1 hour. You should have used 100 hours, but instead you use 110 hours. Standard labor rate is $15 per hour. Just plug it in and you will get your answer. So it's going to be negative 10 times 15, negative 150. It is adverse. It is adverse. C is the answer. Mojo Coffee Houses has noticed that its contribution margin is shrinking, and it is analyzing direct material used in its operations for price and usage. The company purchased 30,000 pounds of coffee at 112,500. If you calculate the actual price, 112,500 divided by 30,000 pounds, so you get the actual price, AP. It is $3.75 per pound. Okay, based on its sales, the company estimates that only 26,000 pounds of coffee should have been used. This is the standard quantity of coffee that should have been used. However, 28,000 were actually used. This is the actual quantity consumed. The standard cost per pound was 3.10. This is the standard price. Compare it with the actual price. 3.75 is the actual price. The standard price should have been $3.10 per pound. In computing its two-way direct material variance, Mojo determines the following components are either favorable or adverse. Let us calculate these two. The price variance, called the material price variance or rate variance, is the difference between standard price and actual price multiplied by the actual quantity purchased. And the material, what you call the efficiency variance or the usage variance, is the quantity of material you should have used versus the quantity of material you actually used, actual quantity, multiplied by the standard price. Now plug in the numbers. Standard price was 3.10. The actual price we paid was 3.75, multiplied by, now we have two quantities. One is the actual quantity used, and other is the actual quantity purchased. I will explain the idea. If you take 30,000, the result I'm going to get is negative 19,500. This is what you call the material price variance for the quantity purchased. It's called the material price variance for the quantity purchased. But if you want to calculate the price variance for quantity consumed, you will use 28,000 in this. So this is the difference. So that means price variance is 19,500. So either it's A, B or C. Let us calculate the quantity variance also. The standard quantity that you should have used, based on its sales, the company estimates only 26,000 pounds of coffee should have been used. This is what you call the standard quantity to be used as per the standard costing, and the actual quantity used was 28,000 pounds multiplied by the standard price, which is 3.10. And now you can simplify. This is again going to be an adverse variance. 6,200 negative. And negative would be adverse, and that is the perfect combination, B. For the current period production levels, Excel Molding Company budgeted 8,500 board feet of production and used 9,000 board feet for actual production. Material cost was budgeted at $2 per foot. That is the standard price. The actual cost for the period was $3 per foot. That is the actual price. What was Excel's material efficiency variance for the period? Remember, efficiency variance, also called the usage variance, is the difference between the standard quantity you should have used, which is the actual quantity you actually used, multiplied by the standard price of material. Standard quantity that you should have used is 8,500. The actual quantity you used was 9,000, and the standard price is given right here as $2. So it's going to be negative 1,000, and negative 1,000 would mean adverse variance, and that is B. A company produces widgets with budgeted standard direct material of 2 pounds per widget. This is the standard quantity. This is the standard price for material. Standard labor was budgeted at 0.5 per widget. This is the standard quantity for labor. This is for material, and this is for material also. And the rate for labor is SP labor is $15 per hour. The actual usage in the current year was 2,500 pounds and 3,000 hours to produce 10,000 widgets. This is the quantity consumed. This is the actual hours consumed, actual quantity of material, actual quantity of labor hours. What was the direct labor usage variance? So we have got lots of information, but we just need to calculate the labor usage variance, also called the labor efficiency variance, is equal to the standard quantity of hours you should have used minus actual quantity of hours you actually used multiplied by the labor rate per hour. Now look at this. 10,000 widgets were produced, and as per the standard, each widget should take 0.5 hours of labor, which means you should have used 5,000 labor hours. 0.5 times 10,000. 5,000 labor hours, but you used 3,000 actual labor hours. Clearly a favorable variance multiplied by the labor rate, and which happens to be $15. So it's going to be 3,000 difference, 5,002 times 15, 30,000 positive. Quite a massive variance favorable, 30,000. C. Hot Company, an appliance manufacturer, received an order of 5,000 toasters. Hot budgeted 1,600 hours at 12 per hour to fill the order. What exactly are we looking for? Direct labor efficiency variance. This is the standard price for labor, and this is the budgeted labor hours. How many toasters? 5,000, which means if 5,000 toasters are to be produced taking 1,600 hours, that would mean each toaster takes standard quantity of hour 0.32 hour. This is the standard quantity that each toaster should take. $12 is the standard labor price. Hot employees use 1,700 hours to build 5,000 toasters. You used more time than you should have, at a direct labor cost of $20,000. $20,000 is the labor cost for 1,700 labor hours. This will help us calculate the actual price paid to our workers, which is 11.76. So the actual labor price is 11.76. Standard labor price was 12, but in this question we are required to calculate the labor efficiency variance, and labor efficiency variance is equal to the standard quantity of hours they should have taken versus the actual quantity of hours multiplied by the labor rate standard. Standard quantity that they should have used 1,600 labor hours, 0.32 per unit, so 0.32 times 5,000, or just this number, and actual quantity used was 1,700 labor hours multiplied by the, this is multiplication, standard labor rate, this is $12, so just simplify, it's going to be 1,200 negative, and that would mean D. J&L Incorporated manufactures dog beds. Each bed requires 10 square feet of material. This is the standard quantity, which has a standard cost of $2 per bed. $2 per bed. Now this is important. Each bed requires 10 square feet of material, so you should divide $2 by 10, which means your standard rate is $2 by 10.2 per square feet. That was important. During July, J&L results were as follows. Square feet of material consumed 12,000. Cost of material consumed 3.6 or $3,600. Number of dogs beds manufactured 1,000. What is the direct materials usage variance? Usage or efficiency variance is the standard quantity of material that should have been used versus actual quantity into the standard price of material. Now the standard quantity you should have used, you produced 1,000 dog beds, and each bed requires 10 square feet, which means you should have used 10,000 square feet of material. Actual quantity used was 12,000 square feet, and the rate was not $2 per bed, it is 0.2 per square feet. And now if you simplify, it's going to be 400 negative, and that would mean B. A company produces widgets with budgeted standard direct material of 2 pounds per widget, that is the standard quantity, at $5 per pound, that is the standard price. Standard direct labor was budgeted at 0.5 per labor hour, 0.5 per hour per unit, and the rate is 15 per hour for the labor. The actual usage in the current year was 25,000 pounds for material, and the actual quantity of hour was 3000 labor hours. 10,000 actual widgets were produced. What was the direct material usage variance? Material usage variance or efficiency variance is the standard quantity of material that we should have used versus the actual quantity of material actually used multiplied by the standard price of material. So as per the standard, we should have used 2 pounds per unit. For 10,000 widgets, we should have used a total of 20,000 pounds. But we used 25,000 pounds, 5,000 more than the standard. And the price for material is $5 per pound. So it's going to be a massive adverse variance, 5,000 times 5, negative 25,000, and that would make B to be the correct option. We need material quantity variance. We know material quantity or usage variance or efficiency variance is equal to the standard quantity we should have used, actual quantity actually used multiplied by the price for material. So the manufacturing company that provides Trivets has established the following standards for the current year. Standard price per pound is $3. Standard material usage per Trivet 2. During April, the company purchased 10,000 pounds of material for $33,000. This is the actual price paid. Used 9,400 pounds of products to produce 4,500 Trivets. 4,000 Trivets were sold during April. What amount should be reported as the material quantity or usage variance? As per the standard, if you have produced 4,500 Trivets, as per the standard, you should have used 9,000 units of raw material. Look at this, what we have actually used. We used 9,400 pounds of your input. So that would mean an adverse variance. And what is the standard price? 3. So it's going to be 1,200 negative. That means adverse variance. A. A company uses standard costing system. At the end of the current year, the company provides the following overhead information: actual overheads, variable, fixed, budgeted fixed overhead 65, variable overhead rate, also called the variable overhead absorption rate, $8, standard hours allowed for the actual production, standard quantity 12,000, actual hours 11,000. What amount is the variable overhead efficiency variance? We know the formula. Variable overhead efficiency variance is the standard quantity of hours that should have been used as per the actual production minus actual quantity of hours multiplied by the variable overhead absorption rate. So standard quantity of hours that you should have used is 12,000. Actual quantity of hours you actually used is 11,000 multiplied by the rate of variable overhead 8. So if you simplify it, it's going to be 8,000 favorable. So that means A is the right answer. The standard direct material cost to produce a unit of LEM is 4 meters. And the price is 2.5. This is the standard price. This is the standard quantity per unit. During May of the year, 4,200 meters of materials costing this much were purchased. What is the price variance? For this, you need to divide the total cost by the quantity. This will give you the actual price of material, and it is going to be 10,080. 10,080 divided by 4,200, that gives you 2.4. $2.4. The standard price was 2.5. Okay, and we need to find the price variance. Direct material rate or price variance is equal to the standard price you should have paid minus actual price you actually paid multiplied by the actual quantity either used or purchased depending upon the question's requirement. So we purchased how many meters? We purchased 4,200. Standard price was 2.5. Actual price was 2.4 multiplied by the quantity purchased, because we have not been given the quantity consumed. So that's what we should use now. 2.5 less 2.4. The result is positive 0.1 times 4,200. So your variance is favorable. 4,200 times 0.1, that is 420, favorable. B is the answer. The controller of Durham Skates is reviewing the production cost report for July. An analysis of direct material cost reflects an unfavorable flexible budget variance of 25. The plant manager believes that this is an excellent performance on flexible budget for 5,000 units of direct material. However, the production supervisor is not pleased with this result as he claims to have saved $1,200 in material cost on actual production using just 4,900 units of direct material. The standard material cost is 12 per unit. That's the standard price. Actual material used for the month amounted to 60,025. What is the actual average cost? Actual average cost is equal to the material consumed in quantity in dollars and divided with the quantity, 4,900. So this is the cost of the material consumed. This is the quantity. So you can get quantity, actual price of quantity. Very simple, straightforward question. Apparently it was a difficult question with lots of information, but just you need to read the information carefully. It's 12.25. That makes D to be the correct option. A company has gathered the following information from a recent production run. Standard variable overhead rate SPV is $10. Actual variable overhead rate 8. Standard process hours 20. And actual process hours 25. What is the variable overhead spending variance? Remember the formula. Actual quantity of hours or whatever the base is multiplied by the variable overhead absorption rate minus the actual variable overheads. That's my formula and it will never fail you. Actual quantity 25. Variable overhead rate $10. Actual variable overhead rate is 8. Actual hours 25. I am sure you know actual quantity into actual price gives you the actual cost, in this case actual variable overheads. So 8 times 25 is going to be $200. So it's basically 250 versus 200. 50 positive, and positive in my world means favorable. B. Paper company budgeted the following amounts for the period. What we need is the usage variance. Sales 1,000 ton at a total dollar amount 4.5 million. Wood purchases 2,000 tons at 1.6 million. Actual amounts were sales in quantity and amount, wood purchases in quantity and amount. We need the usage variance. Material usage variance or efficiency variance is equal to the standard quantity we should have used minus actual quantity we actually used multiplied by the standard price for material, which we can calculate by dividing $1.6 million with 2,000. So this will give you the rate $800 per ton. That's the standard price. So you should have used 2,000 tons, but you actually used 2,200 tons as per the information given. So it is clearly an adverse variance of 200 negative multiplied by 800 gives you 160 adverse, and that would make A to be the correct option. Management has reviewed the standard cost variance analysis and is trying to explain an unfavorable labor efficiency variance of $8,000. Which of the following is the most likely cause of this unfavorable labor efficiency variance? The new labor contract increased wages. That would result in labor rate variance, not efficiency. Incorrect. The maintenance of machinery has been inadequate for the last few months, thereby requiring more labor hours than necessary. Hence, this has caused an adverse labor efficiency variance. This perfectly justifies what has happened. Why not C? The department manager has chosen to use highly skilled workers. That will result in an adverse labor rate variance, not labor efficiency variance. And the quality of raw material has improved greatly. That would result in two types of variance: a favorable labor efficiency variance and a favorable material efficiency variance. And we have none. So surely B is the right answer. Selected costs associated with a product are as follows: standard hours of units, total actual direct labor cost, actual per hour labor rate, standard per hour labor rate, What amount is the total direct labor price variance? We know labor price variance is equal to the standard price minus actual price into the actual quantity of hours worked. You just need to know the formula and just plug in the right numbers and you will always get the right answer. So standard price given is 24, actual price 23.5 multiplied by the actual hours worked. We don't have them, but we can calculate. This is the actual labor cost. This is the actual labor rate. Divide the labor cost with the actual labor rate will give you the actual hours worked. 111,625 divided by 23.5 gives you 4750. This is the actual quantity of hours worked against the standard allowed. So 24 minus 23.5 times 4750. This clearly gives us a positive number, a favorable variance of plus 2375. That makes B to be the correct option. Daisy World Group estimates that the standard material cost of producing one jumbo slingshot is 1.45 based on the usage of 0.725 board feet. This is the standard quantity SQ. This is the standard price SP. So basically this is the cost of material used in a single item, but this is the overall price, $2 per board feet. So if $2 per board feet is the standard price, the usage is 0.725 in each finished item. So 2 multiplied by 0.725 gives you 1.45. During March, Daisy manufactured 24,000 jumbo slingshots using all of the 20,000 board feet of maple purchased, costing a total of 39,200. Now this can help us calculate the actual rate. This is the standard rate basically. This is the standard price for each finished unit, but this is the standard rate per board feet. Standard price per board feet, and the actual was 39,200 upon 20,000, and this would give me 1.96 $1.96 per board feet. This is the actual price. This is the standard price. So what we need to calculate the total material variance, direct material quantity variance, and the direct material price variance. Let us first calculate the price variance. Material price variance is equal to the standard price 2, actual price 1.96 multiplied by the actual quantity purchased, and the actual quantity purchased was 20,000. So it's going to be 2 minus 1.96 multiplied by 20,000. It is plus 800. Price variance is favorable, which means either D or A. Now we need to calculate the material efficiency variance, also called the material usage variance. It is equal to the standard quantity we should have used minus the actual quantity we actually used multiplied by the standard price of material. The standard quantity that you should have used, you produced 24,000 slingshots and each one should have used 0.725 board feet. So 24,000 multiplied by 0.725, you should have used 17,400 board feet, but in actual you used 20,000 board feet multiplied by the standard price of $2. Now if you simplify, this will give you negative 5,200 adverse. So that makes perfect sense. 5,200 unfavorable quantity variance, 800 favorable price variance gives you an overall unfavorable total material variance. D is the right answer. Quick Company was analyzing variances for one of its operations. The initial budget forecast production of 20,000 units during the year with a variable manufacturing overhead rate of 10 per unit. Quick produced 19,000 units during the year. Actual variable manufacturing cost was $210,000. What amount would be Quick's flexible budget variance for the year? So flexible budget would mean the actual quantity produced, AQ, multiplied by the standard price, 190. So 190 is what the variable cost should be as per the flexible budget. If the cost is 210, that means the flexible budget variance is adverse by $20,000. So that would make D to be the correct option. Based on past experience, a company has developed the following budget formula for estimating its shipping expenses. The company's shipments averaged 12 pounds per shipment, and this is the formula we use to estimate the shipping cost. $16,000 is the fixed cost, and then every pound we ship multiplied by 0.5 is the variable component of the shipping cost. The planned activity and the activity actual regarding orders and shipment for the current month are given in the following schedule: sales orders, shipments, unit shipped, sales, plan and actual, total pound shipped. This is the only relevant information. Rest of it is totally irrelevant. Okay. The actual shipping cost for the month amounted to $21,000. This is the actual result. The appropriate monthly flexible budget for shipping costs for the purpose of performance evaluation would be $16,000 is the fixed amount, and then every pound you shipped in actual is charged at the rate of 0.5. So you just multiply these, and I believe you should get a total of 22,150. D. Exeter Manufacturing's overhead account had a $10,000 credit balance after the application of $200,000 in manufacturing overhead for the month of June. Overhead applied has a credit balance. If it has a credit balance, I hope you would remember it is over applied. The cost accounting records have accurately computed an unfavorable volume variance of 25,000 and a favorable efficiency variance of 30,000. Exeter's spending variance would be, please note, under or over applied manufacturing overheads is the net overall variance, which is equal to the manufacturing overhead spending variance, manufacturing overhead production volume variance. Normally it is fixed. Let me write this down. It is the fixed overhead production volume variance, fixed and variable spending variance, and finally the variable overhead efficiency variance. So it is the sum of these three variances. Since it has a credit balance, it means favorable. I told you favorable would be plus in my world 10,000. Manufacturing overhead spending variance is what we want to determine. Let's highlight this. So manufacturing overhead spending variance is to be calculated. Production volume variance is unfavorable. So if it is unfavorable, that means it's going to be negative $25,000. Further, efficiency variance is favorable, plus $30,000. Now if you take manufacturing overhead variance as the subject of your equation, so you will get plus 5 and up plus $5,000 in net. That is favorable. That is favorable. It means it is favorable. 5,000 A is the right option. Baby Frames Incorporated evaluates manufacturing overhead by using variance analysis. The following information applies to the month of May. Number of frames manufactured 19,000 actual, budgeted 20,000. Variable overhead 4,100 actual, budgeted rate was $2 per direct labor hour. Fixed overhead cost actual 22,000, budget was $20,000, and on per unit basis 20 upon 20 $1 per unit. Direct labor hours 2,100 hours were worked, and the rate is 0.1 hour per frame. This is the time required by each unit as per the standards. All right, what we are required to find out, we need to find the production volume variance, and we know production volume variance is equal to the standard quantity of hours that should have been used based upon the actual output multiplied by the fixed overhead rate on per labor hour. In this question, fixed overhead rate per labor hour minus fixed cost budgeted. So we have most of the things available. Fixed cost budget is given as $20,000. We need to see how many hours should have been used. You produced 19,000 units, and as per the standard, each unit should take 0.1 hour. That means you should have used 1,900 labor hours. Now the next step is to calculate the fixed overhead rate per labor hour. So how do you calculate the rate? The fixed overhead rate can be calculated by first taking the estimated fixed overhead, which is $20,000 right here, divided by the estimated labor hours. Each unit would take 0.1 hour, and if 20,000 units are to be produced, that means 2,000 labor hours are needed, and on per hour basis it is $10. So fixed overhead application rate is $10 per labor hour. This is called the FOH rate, absorption rate, recovery rate, application rate. So your fixed overhead absorbed into production is 19,000, whereas the fixed overhead budget was 20. The difference between these two is clearly negative, unfavorable, and so that will make B to be the correct option. Folsom Fashions sells a line of women dresses. Folsom's performance report for November year 1 is as follows. Dresses sold 5,000, plan was 6,000. This was the sales, variable cost, contribution margin, fixed cost, operating income. The company uses a flexible budget to analyze its performance and to measure the effect on operating income of the various factors affecting the difference between budgeted and actual operating income. The effect of the sales volume variance on the contribution margin. Sales volume variance is equal to the actual quantity sold minus original planned quantity as per the budget multiplied by the budgeted unit contribution margin. This is how you calculate the sales volume variance. Actual quantity sold is 5,000. Original planned quantity was 6,000. Budgeted unit contribution margin can be calculated by dividing 120 budgeted contribution based upon 6,000 units. So it's going to be $20. So if you simplify, it is going to be negative $20,000, which means it's going to be an adverse variance. C is the right option. Camking uses standard costing system in the manufacture of its single product. 35,000 units of raw materials in inventory were purchased at 105. So this will give you the actual price per unit. 105 upon 35. We don't know yet what exactly we need to find. So nonetheless, this is the actual price paid. And 2 units of raw material are required to produce 1 unit of final product. In November, the company produced 12,000 units of product. The standard allowed for material was $60,000 and there was an unfavorable quantity variance of 2,500. Camking's standard price for 1 unit of material. Now listen, you produce 12,000 units. Each finished unit requires 2 units of raw material. That means you should have used 24,000 units of raw material, and these should have cost 60,000 because it says the standard allowed for material as per the information given should be 60 based upon 24,000 inputs of raw material. So it's going to be 60,000 divided by 24,000. It is $2.5. So your standard price is $2.5 per unit of raw material. That perfectly matches with the option B. Next. Eco company uses normalized job costing system and applies factory overhead on the basis of machine hours. Eco yearly profit plan disclosed anticipated factory overhead of 4.8 million if 200 machine hours were worked. This will help us establish the overhead application rate. So 4.8 million is the estimated overhead divided by 200,000 machine hours. That is the activity base. So the application rate, manufacturing overhead rate, recovery rate, absorption rate is $24 per machine hour. By the year end, actual factory overhead charges and machine hours worked amounted to 4.73 million, and this is the actual hours worked. What amount correctly states the factory overhead applied to Eco's actual year end overheads? This is the application rate. How many hours were worked? 215. Just multiply the hours worked with the application rate. This will give you the overhead applied. 215,000 multiplied by 24. This is the overhead applied, 5.160. And what was the actual? The actual was 4.73 million. So the difference clearly is 430 over applied. You charged more overhead than the actual, so it's over applied, which is basically a favorable variance. So it's going to be 430 over applied. C is the answer. Dawn Corporation uses standard cost system. During the year, both labor rate variance and the labor efficiency variance were unfavorable. Labor rate variance and labor efficiency variance were both unfavorable. Okay. Dawn wrote the variances off directly to the cost of goods sold, which means your cost of goods sold would be higher now. If Dawn had allocated the variances to work in process and finished goods and cost of goods sold, prorated them, what would have been the effect on the current ratio and the net income? Under given situation, since we have charged all the unfavorable material and labor variances, labor rate and efficiency variance into the cost of goods sold, so your CGS right now is higher. It has resulted in lower gross profit and the lower net income, right? Now, in case if we split this adverse variance into three accounts, work in process, finished goods, and the cost of goods sold. In that case, this total charge will now be reduced. Resultantly, now you charge less to CGS. If you charge less to CGS, your gross profit would be higher, your net profit would be higher. And the rest of the adverse variance goes to finished goods and work in process as a cost, as a debit, so it would increase both the work in process and finished goods inventory. So resulting a higher current assets, it would increase your current ratio because of higher work in process and higher finished goods because they carry the adverse variances as a debit to them, as an increase to the amounts available. So your net income and both current ratio would increase. That makes A to be the correct option. Financial data related to a company's unit production for the current month are as follows. Standard overhead hours for production 15,000 units and it required 20,000 hours. Okay, this is what you call the standard quantity of hours allowed for actual production. Units produced in actual 15,000, actual variable factory overhead 475,000, actual fixed factory overhead 50,000, standard unit total overhead cost per hour 30, and standard fixed cost per hour is 3. If total is 30, and out of this, if $3 represents your fixed overhead rate per hour, then remaining 27 would be the variable overhead rate per hour, or variable overhead cost per hour. What amount is the company's variable factory overhead variance for the current month? So we need to see what is the variable overhead absorbed into production based upon this rate, $27, the rate, multiplied by the standard quantity of hours that should have been used. This is the variable overhead absorbed, and this is the actual variable overhead. So let us calculate and see the difference. 27 times 20,000 less 475, you get a positive number of 65,000. So that means it's a favorable variance. C is the answer. Black & Company manufactures concrete lawn products. Black has invested substantial amount in concrete mixing, casting and curing equipment and has allocated fixed cost of $2 per unit based on the normal capacity. This is the overhead application rate on per unit basis. During a period of slack demand, when the demand was less, a salesman has proposed accepting an order for 10,000 ornamental concrete statues to be delivered to the customer at a price of $2.79 each. The cost of each unit is projected to be as follows: material, labor, shipping cost, overhead. If Black's normal capacity was 20,000 units per month and this 10,000 units contract was the only one worked on during the month, which of the following adjustments to the factory overhead control account should be made at the end of the month? Since we have capacity to produce 20,000 units but we were able to produce only 10,000 units, that will mean you will only be able to apply $20,000 of the manufacturing overhead. The remaining 20,000 will be unapplied, will be underapplied. This underapplied requires closure of your overhead account. I hope you remember. You have a manufacturing overhead control account and all the expenses actually incurred are debited, and they would be 2 times 20, 40 as per our budget. But we have applied only 20,000, so which means you have to enter 20,000 in the control account to close this account. So there is an adjustment required of 20,000 credit in the control account. So that makes D to be the correct option. A company uses standard costing system. The production budget for year 1 was based on 200,000 units of output. Each unit requires 2 standard hours of manufacturing labor for completion. So that means we are planning for 400 labor hours. That's the planned activity base. Total overhead was budgeted to be $900,000 for the year, and budgeted fixed overhead rate was 1.5 per direct labor hour. If this is the total manufacturing overhead and fixed overhead is 1.5 per labor hour, That means 1.5 multiplied by 4, $600,000. It means $600,000 is the estimated fixed overheads, and out of 900,000 remaining, 300,000 would be the variable overhead. This is an interesting part here. This is the estimated labor hours, manufacturing labor hours. This is the total estimated manufacturing overhead budget. If the fixed is 1.5 per labor hour times 400,000, that means 600,000 is the budgeted fixed overhead. The remaining would be the budgeted variable overhead. Both variable and fixed overheads are allocated to the products on the direct manufacturing labor hour basis. The actual data for the year is as follows. What is the amount of unfavorable overhead efficiency variance? Overhead efficiency variance is calculated by multiplying the standard quantity of hours that should have been used minus actual quantity of hours that was actually used multiplied by the variable overhead application rate. And we can calculate this because if this is your variable budget and this is the estimated labor hours, so 300,000 upon 400, that's going to be 0.75 per labor hour. This is the variable overhead application rate on per hour labor hour basis. So we need the numbers now. Actual production in units 198,000. Since each unit is required to use 2 hours, that means the standard allowed quantity of hours should be 198,000. Units should have taken 396,000 labor hours, but in actual, how many labor hours were used? 425. So we used more labor hours than you should have, multiplied by the variable overhead rate, and just simplify, you get your answer. 396 less 425 multiplied by 0.75 gives you 21,750. That makes A to be the correct option. Ardmore Enterprises uses standard cost system in its small appliance division. The standard cost of manufacturing 1 unit of ZEB is as follows. Material, labor, factory overhead, 3 hours at the rate of 8 per hour. Factory overhead means fixed and variable combined, and this is the total standard cost per unit. The budgeted variable overhead rate is $3 per labor hour. This is important information. And the budgeted fixed overhead is a total of 27,000 per month. During May, Ardmore produced 1650 units of ZEB compared to a normal capacity of 1800 units. The actual cost per unit is given as follows. Material on actual basis, labor on actual basis, factory overhead, a total of 39,930, and on per unit basis actual. This is the actual cost per unit. What is the flexible budget overhead variance? Flexible budget overhead variance means what the cost we expected we would incur and what is the cost we actually incurred. Basically, what you will be doing, you will calculate the overall variable overhead that we should have spent plus the fixed overhead, and we will compare it with the total actual manufacturing overhead cost. This is how we apply the variable overhead. It is 3 per labor hour. Okay, if you have actually produced 1650 units, and as per the standard, each unit should take 3 units, 3 labor hours. That means 3 multiplied by 1650 multiplied by 3. What basically it means, if you produce 1650 units, it should take 16 multiplied by 3, 40950 labor hours, and the variable overhead application rate is 3 per labor hour. So this is the standard quantity allowed for actual output multiplied by the variable overhead application rate. So this will give you the fixed overhead that you should have spent. Fixed overhead budget is given as 27,000. So this is the flexible budget amount for the overheads. The total manufacturing overhead is given as 39,930. So if you calculate their difference, this will give you your required answer, 930. It is 90-20 positive. 1920 positive, this is the option D, and that's what you call the flexible budget overhead variance, total variable and fixed combined. D is the right option. Moving on, Nanjons Company manufactures a line of products distributed nationally through wholesalers. Presented below are planned manufacturing data for year 1 and actual data for November year 1. The company applies overheads based on the planned machine hour. That's the application base using the predetermined annual rate. Okay. This is the data for the whole year. 1.2 million estimated fixed cost, manufacturing cost. 2.4 million is the estimated variable manufacturing overhead, and this is the estimate for the month of November and for fixed and variable. Direct labor hours for the whole year 48,000, for November 4,000, 240 for machine hours for the whole year, and 22,000 for November. This is all planned. The actual data for November is as follows. Actual labor hours that you should have used, this is called the standard quantity of hours that you should have used. Machine hours actual, and this is the machine hours that you should have used as per the standards. And the fixed manufacturing cost actual and variable manufacturing cost actual. Lots of data is given. What exactly is required? The fixed overhead volume variance. We know the fixed overhead volume variance, or called the production volume variance, is the standard quantity of hours you should have used multiplied by the fixed overhead rate based upon the labor hours. In this question, it's machine hour. Machine hour is the activity base. As per this question, it says clearly that you will use the machine hours as the activity base. All right. And then from this, we deduct the fixed overhead budget. Do we have the standard quantity of hours, machine hours that we should have used? Yes. This is what you call the machine hours plan based on actual output. This is the quantity of hours we should have used. Fixed overhead budget. Do we have the fixed overhead budget? Yes, we do. This is the fixed overhead budget for November, because we are talking only for the month of November year 1. So this is the fixed overhead budget. Now we have to find out the fixed overhead rate for the whole. So this is your fixed overheads annual, and since we have to use the planned machine hour as the activity base, so it's going to be 1.2 million divided by 240,000. It is $5 per machine hour. So this is the fixed overhead application rate. So we're going to multiply the standard quantity of machine hours we should have used multiplied by the fixed overhead rate. So 210 multiplied by 21,000 multiplied by 5. Your fixed overhead absorbed into production is 105,000, whereas the fixed overhead budget is 100. Remember, absorbed versus budget is called the volume variance, which in this case is 5,000 positive, favorable. And absorbed versus actual is what you call the under and over absorbed, the total overhead or total fixed overhead variance. So we got our answer. C is the right option.